Howdy gang, it's Brian Quinn, MRDRfly. Thanks for the great response to my first video. Looking forward to doing a bunch more. The hope is to do 5 a week. So we'll see how this goes. There's just 15 minutes or so left for Halloween. Hope you all had a great Halloween. We had just a handful of kids, and if you follow me on Facebook, you saw I am left with a great deal of candy, which is not the best thing for a type 2 diabetic, but that's another story. One of the things I wanted to do with my channel, besides obviously promoting what I'm doing with comics and my future apparel line, coloring books, what have you, is I want to pay tribute to creators that influence me, as well as other creators that are current, friends of mine in the business, and acquaintances that I follow. So starting off, I have to start with one of my titans, and that is, of course, Jean Giraud, better known, especially in America, as Moebius. I first encountered Moebius's work in the pages of Heavy Metal magazine, 48 years old, so I was at a great age to be introduced to that content in the early 80s. My older brother is an artist as well, and he was collecting. He's 6 years my senior, or close to 6 years my senior, and he had a great collection of what I consider the best time to collect comics in general. It's late 70s into the mid 80s, and heavy metal from 77 to around, I would say, 84. Every last issue is worth picking up. They really just did a fantastic job of bringing in European creators as well as American talent such as Richard Corbin and Charles Burns and a few other guys that are just, you know, again, titans in this industry. What I have in front of us is the latest domestic offering from Dark Horse Comics. The last couple of years, they've been releasing these gorgeous hardcover books. And none of this content, well, no, that's not true. Some of this content was released by Marvel Comics, Epic Comics line in the 80s. The Adina cycle content. The Inside Moebius sketchbook series is completely new to the English reading audience, thanks to Dark Horse and the Jean Giraud estate. I have a lot of different Moebius books. At some point I'll do another video showing my collection that goes back to when I was a teenager up until today, where I continue to get books from all over the world of Moebius's work. But I'm going to give you a closer look at what Dark Horse put together in the last 2 years, I believe it is. First up is the Adina series that Moebius did. I'm pretty certain it was started in the 80s, and he finished the last chapter sometime in the 90s. And it's pretty fascinating to see how even at the age that he was doing these books, that even his art style changed over time. His he went from a more Hergé limited line style in the beginning, and toward the end his panel and page layouts seem to have been inspired by American comics. I think I'm right on that. There's definitely a change in styles. The story is written by Moebius. God, it's really hard to explain. Two travelers land on a strange land, get influenced by the environment. One character becomes a female and the other one becomes more masculine. It's almost a obvious Adam and Eve reinterpretation. Jean Giraud during this time was living a lifestyle where I believe I forget the actual name, it's some kind of vegan where they don't even cook the vegetables. He was eating raw fruits and vegetables. And a lot of that kind of seeps into the work as well, interestingly enough. Obviously, the thing that got my attention as a kid was just the incredible finesse of illustration that this guy always had. Just absolutely stunning art. Everything from his line work to world building. No one could world build like this guy. Even his palette was pretty interesting, I think, in this series. His use of color. It's a unique read. You know, I encourage anyone interested in the top tier of comics, international comics, to always check out Moebius. And for us English-speaking people, this is a good place to start. And the other book they did with the Adina is this art book. And, you know, just a lot of spot illustrations. Some short stories. Again, done in different art styles. It's clear there's a lot of this is a very personal project for Moebius. There's a lot of heart put into it. Not suggesting that his other work doesn't have that, but this is something that was obviously a lot more personal for him. Highly recommended. Dark Horse, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to collections especially, they really do a fantastic job. Nice solid binding, hardcover, perfect gloss paper. Reproduction is, you know, top notch. And the books are affordable. You know, especially if you go on Amazon, you could get these at a decent price. So these two books definitely, I suggest that anyone interested in comic books should definitely consider picking these up. Moebius definitely comes from that hippie culture. I'll go into it more in another video. He was an established, just traditional cartoonist in Europe for years. Very successful series, the Blueberry series. It's a Western. Europeans, especially I guess in the 60s and 70s, were fascinated with American Western culture. And he worked on it his entire professional career, it seemed. It was just a straight up traditional, beautifully illustrated series, multiple volumes. I'm forgetting the original author's name. And then after he had passed, Moebius, or Gur actually, as he would pen his work for the Blueberry series, he started writing the later volumes up until his death. If I remember correctly, Moebius passed in 2012. This set of 3 volumes that Dark Horse thankfully released in rapid fire, it seems. It's containing in 3 volumes, 6 volumes that were done in Europe. It's a visual diary that Giro did after quitting smoking pot. Kind of a unique place to start a series. It's kind of a tough recommendation, to be honest, to the average comic book reader. I certainly would encourage people to buy anything with Moebius's name on it, but this might be probably not the gateway to his work. It might throw people off because you genuinely are getting a shorthand style of art. And it's not to say that there's obviously not quality to these pages, but it's not how I would introduce someone to the work of Moebius. I'm thankful that, you know, Dark Horse took up this project, because the only volume that I had is a Italian or Spanish reproduction of the last 2 or 3 volumes in a smaller digest format, hardcover. But, you know, it's, again, gorgeously reproduced. Moebius's digital colors for his sketchbook work really give it a nice punch to the art. If you're not looking to invest in all 3 volumes, the 3rd volume is the one I have to recommend the most. The art, especially towards the end, he really put some time into the pages. Let me go to the back here. There's some crazy, look at that. I mean, this guy, look at that. Fantastic. You know, today's artists, me included, we have the internet at our hands. We have digital technology. We could take a picture of anything and incorporate it into our art. There's a lot of guys out there and gals utilizing computers to create their backgrounds, you know, make it easier, vehicles, kind of crap that I typically don't like drawing. Guys like Moebius or, you know, Jack Kirby or any of those guys that like came out of 60s, 70s, even earlier, in the case of Kirby, obviously. You know, just banging this stuff out of their heads. It's crazy. Where the hell does this come from? Pot smoking? Well, you know, he wasn't smoking at this point, so maybe the damage was done. Who knows? But just incredible imagination on every page. Just gorgeous stuff. So, you know, for the hardcore Moebius fan, obviously, get all these books. I'm not sure when or if Dark Horse is doing more. I've spoken to a couple of people there, and, you know, I'm not giving up what they said, but, you know, let's hope so, because it's always good to have a master's work in print, especially in English. There was a couple of other publishers that I was hoping would jump on this that didn't get the chance, but Dark Horse is a great company. You know, I can't knock them, especially for their reproductions and their collections. Gorgeous work. So, all right, let me know what you think. You know, are you familiar with Moebius? Comment below. What's your favorite work by him? I have a lot of other books by him. At some point I'll go through my house and put them all together and make a video about some of my favorites and the stories behind me finding these books. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like the video. I'd really like to build this channel as quickly as possible. I've seen a lot of positive things happen with other creators using YouTube, and I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to be able to produce a lot of videos in a short period of time. So, like I said, you know, expect at least 5 videos a week, if not more sometimes, you know, depending on my schedule. It'll be content about what I'm working on, my tools of trade, me hitting up shops, both comic shop, bookstores, even art stores. New Jersey still has a handful of stores, so I'm fortunate to be in driving distance of a handful of good, decent stores. And also, I'll be doing videos about, you know, what shaped me as a creator. And Moebius is certainly a great first introduction to that topic. It's not necessarily the way I draw, but just that freedom and just limitless imagination that this guy always had. I can only hope to capture a little bit of that in my own work, and, you know, always strive to achieve what he did in 70 some odd years. But thanks again. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.